to create a highway, piece of highway. This is kind of basically what we're going to be creating, nothing too super fancy. And then all I used was the sweep, the extrude, and a couple of extrudes for this particular look. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into the right view, and I'm going to go ahead and for this particular one I'm going to use a linear, because I'm just going to create a bunch of really straight objects. So I'm going to start from the middle somewhere. I'm going to click for how long I want to make the road or highway. There we go. That's the basic shape that we're going to have, and then we're going to just edit a little bit. I'm going to bring this down to this line right here, just so that we can kind of try to get it real flat, or somewhat flat. Alright, so if you want to make yours a little bit more pretty, go right ahead. This is for this tutorial. I'm not going to try to make it too crazy looking. Alright. So we have this object, and what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and use the mirror tool, and I'm just going to kind of get it pretty close. And what you're going to see, oh, I have a couple ones that are not connected. I'm going to select these two splines. There we go. And then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to go to join segment. Now you'll see that instead of it being blue, it's going to have like a shade of blue, and then eventually I have this bottom part, which you at least then put to close spline. Alright, now I have on my thing is a little divider object. So to create that, I start off with a rectangle, make it editable, and then I shrunk it down so it's a little bit smaller. Alright, so I'm thinking like this big. Maybe it'll be a little bit taller. Like that. That's how big it's going to be. Alright, now I'm going to go edit the points. So I'm going to bring these up so that they're a little bit above the road itself, and then we're going to add some points to create the shape that we want. So I'm going to add a point here. And since it's in the same thing, I'm going to go make it about the same. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these two little middle points and bring them down so that they're going to intersect. And we're going to actually merge this rectangle, which is going to be the middle area, and then this spline, which is going to be the road. But right now we are just working on getting the shape here. I'm going to go ahead and add some more points. So this will be where it'll stay straight. There we go. And then we're going to go up a little bit to where it's going to go in. And then we'll start moving these together. And now if I select both these together, and then I get my scale tool and I bring them together down the same plane, you're going to see that they're going to come together or repulse each other. So that's a little trick for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select these top parts, and we'll say that's a good barrier. I think they're called like Chicago barriers or something like that because of where they were originally created, or something like that. They have like a weird name where they're named after either a person or a place where they was invented. Okay, so anyways, so we're going to go ahead and create that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these two, and we're going to use our spline mask, and we're going to put them together. And then we just have to make sure the spline mask is going to work Z along Y. And now it is a solid line. So then we go ahead and I'm going to make this editable so it's one actual object. Alrighty. Now we're going to go to our front view. And I'm going to try to make a spline do the B-spline, where I'm going to get the shape of a highway kind of going over a road. This doesn't have to be 100% itself. So something like that. Alright. Now, if I want to add more to this one, then I'll go ahead and add create points. Alright, and I'll just move these points along. So it was more of a gradual ramp upwards. Okay. So here is, let's say this kind of, let's look at the major roads right here. This is the overpass that we're going to create. Alright, so now if we look at it, we have this line and we have this line right here. So this is road, and then this one is path. So we're going to go ahead and create a sweep, and we're going to put the road first and then the path underneath there. And now it may look kind of weird, and then we just have to do some editing with the sweep, and you can do the parallel movements, and then bam, it should create this object for you. So I got a nice looking road. And you can always add up the isoparms if you want to. Alrighty. And it's a nice little piece of road. Okay. So that's our road itself. And like I said, you can see that you have one solid object. And this little gap right there, it'll kind of give you the look that they're actually two separate objects. But really you're just controlling that with one sweep. The nice thing with this is that if I wanted to get real crazy and I wanted to make the direction of the road kind of turn at this point in time, you can kind of just take these controls here, and then we can just kind of make them a path. We'll go over top so we can see what we're doing. So if we wanted it to be a nice turn or something like that, that now when we actually go ahead and turn on the sweep, that we actually can have a turn on it, but we might have to do some more editing with the splines themselves. We could try doing a Bezier, see if the Bezier would work a little bit better. But we'll go back just to the straight one that we had. So we can just finish the tutorial. Alright, so we have that turned back on. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make those little pylons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a layer. And I'm going to select all these, and I'm going to add this to a new layer just so I can kind of turn it off and on as I see fit. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to create a new spline. to turn it on for a little bit. And we'll turn the sweep off so it's not too crazy. So we can kind of get the shape that we're going to match it up with. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new spline. Again, we can get right away with linear. We'll go ahead and start maybe 2. We're going to have it go in just a little bit. Now, there's a couple different ways you can go about doing it. You can either make it straight across and then do some extrudes, or if we're already working on this, we can kind of make our own shape. Sometimes they have some weird shapes. And I'll go ahead and I'll redo the shape just so that alright, now we want this to come down just a little bit, and there we go. And I'm actually going to combine these two that I did, so we'll go ahead and do connect, throw these into it. Alright, there we go. Select these two right here. Join segment. There we go. Alrighty, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip this one. So I'm going to create a copy and paste it. So I made a duplicate. Then I'm going to make a null, throw the connect into it, and then on the null, on the coordinates, I'm going to go -1 and the z. So this is the z plane that we're flipping on. -1, what that's going to do is going to flip it around. Alright, once I have that done, I can pull it out, and it should inherit all of the history from that. And then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to combine these. Connect again. Bam. And then all we have to do is we want to select these two middle points, right click again, join segments. Now it makes a nice path, and then we just want to make sure we close the spline. And now what we do is we go ahead and make an extrude. Bam, we have the extrude. And we just have to edit the extrude so that it's going to go in the right direction. So right now we see that it is actually going outside of that. So we're going to clear this down to 0. And we really want it to go down the X. So we have to do the first channel, so it goes X, Z, Y. So I'll make it a little bit thick, however I want. At this point in time, we can always add some fillet caps to it as well. Give it a little bit of a look to it. So if I turn off that, it got a little bit of a look to it. So not as flat and jagged. Alright, then we're going to go back to our layers. We're going to make that visible. Make the sweep thing, and we're like, oh, this is too small. But, you know, pretty easy. Just take the extrude itself. We're going to scale it. Actually, at this point in time, you can probably take the splines and we'll want to bring the splines center point down. So what we might do is, since we want the bottom to be right there, we can just select all of these points and let's bring them up. So right here. We'll just turn this on for the access point, bring that down, so that when we scale it, scale it, it should scale. In the right spot. But of course you didn't want to work correctly, did you? Down at the bottom, turn it off, scale it, there we go. So we're just going to kind of bring it up so that's inside the other object, but it's not actually going to create any issues. And at this point in time, we can just copy and paste it, the extrude, and then we just move it over a little bit so there's two. So I'll say if there's like a row that goes in between it, there you go, you're done. Alright. If you think that this is a little bit too smooth, you can mess with the Fong angle, and then so that it kind of will give you a little bit sharper edge right here. Alrighty. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so we see what we did. Have a road with a bridge on it, a little highway overpass. Alrighty, this is